converting vertex form to standard form. That's where I gave you an equation where it said like y minus something equals x minus something squared, and you had to convert it to standard form. And to do that, you just had to simplify it. You remember? You had to expand, and then do FOIL, and then distribute, and then move the number over. Is that ringing a bell? Anybody? Okay, Stacy, you need something? Well, this is the Chapter 6 notes packet. So we've had that for a few days, but this one? There you go. Yep. Today we're going backwards. So we went from vertex form to standard form, and we did that just by simplifying. Now we're going from standard form back to vertex form, and that does require a little formula. Okay? And I'll show you how that works. So, just to review, what's this called?
Parabola.
A parabola, and this point is called the
Vertex.
Okay, so that's the vertex. And what letters do we use to represent the vertex?
K.
H and K, good. Okay, H and K represent the vertex. Okay, so our goal is to get something written in vertex form, which means if I could find H and K, if I could find the vertex, I'd be all set. You need to know. Okay, so my goal is to find the vertex. I'm going to find H and K, and then I can write it in vertex form. Okay? So here's an equation that's in standard form. Remember, standard form looks like this, and A, B, and C are numbers. So what number is A? Sean?
3.
The 3. Yeah, A is 3. What's B?
12.
12. And then C is,
5.
careful, negative 5. Yep, C is negative 5. So my goal, again, just to keep your goal in mind, you're looking to find H and then K. So here's how you find H. There's this little formula. H is equal to negative B over 2A. That comes from these. So negative B would be negative 12. Over 2A, that would be 2 times 3. So that's the same as saying negative 12 over 6, which equals what? Negative 2. Okay. A word of caution on that. Hopefully this one you're able to do in your head. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do it in your head, and you're going to want to type it into your calculator. When you type it into your calculator, probably what you're going to want to type is something like this. Negative 12 divided by 2 times 3. That won't get you the right answer. What's wrong with that?
Just do 6 times 3.
Kara, what were you going to say? Yep, you sure do. Because the way this is written, your calculator is going to do negative 12 divided by 2, and then take that and multiply by 3. Okay, it's going to just follow in order. You want to tell your calculator that the 2 and the 3 need to be grouped together. Okay, so if you are going to type it into your calculator all in one shot, make sure you put parentheses around the 2 bottom numbers. Okay. Also, don't forget that this formula has a negative in front of the B. So when you pull that B number out, when you put it in your formula, you've got to have a negative in there. What if your B was already negative? Positive. It would become positive, yeah. So that negative B really means like the opposite of B. Okay? So my H value is negative 2. I'm halfway there. Now I need to find K. To find K, I'm going to take what I found for H and plug it right back into my original equation. So I'm going to put this negative 2 in place of X here and here. Okay? So 3 times negative 2 squared plus 12 times negative 2 minus 5. Go ahead and type that into your calculator. I would type it in all in one shot. Okay, you can swap it for another one. Okay.
Negative 41.
That doesn't sound right.
31.
Should be, I think, negative 19 or negative 17. Okay, if you're not getting negative 17, here's a couple of things to watch for. First of all, I would do it all in one shot, like I said. If you're trying to do it in individual pieces, you might mess up the order of operations without even meaning to. Okay, put it all into your calculator and let your calculator figure out the order of operations. However, the one thing that I need you to remember, and I'm going to say this a ton of times, and I will tell you that when you walk out of this classroom and into Algebra 2, if you only remember one thing, this is what I want you to remember. When you take a negative number and square it in your calculator, the negative number must be in parentheses. So right here where I have this negative 2 in parentheses, those parentheses need to go into your calculator. Anytime you are taking a negative number and raising it to a power, it has to be in parentheses. Has to. In fact, I would just get in the habit in this situation of always putting the number that you're putting in parentheses, whether it's positive or negative. Because it's not going to hurt if it is positive, and if it's negative, it has to be in parentheses. Okay, so if you didn't get negative 17 before, try typing it in again and make sure you get it. Colvin?
I did exactly that. I didn't get it.
Bring your calculator up here. I want to see what you typed in. Please. By the way, this then means if I have h and k, my vertex would be negative 2, negative 17. Okay, I'll look at yours in just a second. I'm going to show this off real quick. Okay, because this is another common error. Okay, do you see at the end there that we wrote times negative 5? That 5 on the end is just a minus 5. So this should say minus 5. And then you would get your negative 17. But in your calculator,
The first time.
I know I've said to you before that negatives, okay, and this is what I wanted to see too. I've said to you before that negatives and subtraction are the same thing. In your calculator, it's not. See this right here? That negative 5? We needed to use a minus 5 there. Okay, because a negative 5 will make your calculator think that it's supposed to be multiplying. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay.
So you want to be using the minus sign for that and not the negative. Okay, if you just tack a negative 5 on the end, that makes your calculator think it's supposed to multiply by negative 5. Devin, did you figure yours out? Okay. Okay, so now I've got my h and my k and I've got my vertex. For some of the questions, you might be done right now. Some of the questions are just going to say, what is the vertex? Or they might ask you to go one step further and write in vertex form. Well, you already know vertex form. It's this. Okay, does that look familiar? And we just found h and k, right? So h is negative 2, k is negative 17. What about a? Any thoughts on a? 3. Yeah, if you look back up here, remember when we found a, b, and c? A was 3. That's the same a you're going to use. Okay? So your a value is going to be 3. And then if I fill the rest of this in, if I do y minus negative 17, what is that really going to be? Y plus 17 equals 3 times x minus negative 2 is really going to become a plus 2 squared. And that part, the filling it into the equation, you know that part already. We've already covered that. Good? So step 1, find h. Step 2, find k. Step 3, if you need to, write it in vertex form. Let's try a few examples, beginning to end. Okay. So to find h, we're using negative b over 2 times a. What's our b value in this example? Oh, who's that? Chatea?
Would it be just negative 1? Because in order to get it, you have to plus 1 to the 1 over there.
Oh, nope. When you're looking for A, B, and C, you're just looking at the numbers that it gives you here. You don't have to move anything around.
Well, I'm saying like before when it would do, like say it was 1 minus 1 and then x squared
Oh.
times 4x, we had
Yep.
to move it over.
Yep.
So I was thinking if you could just reverse and then you get negative 1.
You can't really just reverse, because if you think about that process we went through, like if I gave you,
It's not on the.
okay, if I gave you something like that and asked you to get it into this form, remember you had to expand that x plus 3 and FOIL it,
Yeah.
okay? And then, so you would end up with a 9 from the 3 times 3, and then you were adding the 2 to it. So that number represents a combination of this number and these numbers.
Oh.
Okay, so it's not quite that simple, but really good question. Good thought. What's my b value in this equation the way it's written?
1,
Nope, b.
4.
b is negative 4. So if I want negative b, I would be using positive 4. Yep, a negative negative is a positive. So positive 4 over 2 times, what's my a value? 1. Yeah, it's the number that's in front of x squared. For a, b, and c, you're never going to have x's. Okay, it's only going to be numbers. I see a lot of people in this situation that want to say a is equal to x squared. It's the number in front of x squared. And if there's nothing there, it's a 1. So this would be 4 over 2 times 1, which is just equal to 2. So that's my h value. Do you remember what to do with that now to find k? Okay, plug it back into the original equation. So k equals, I would be doing 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 1. Everyone see where that came from? Okay, I took this 2, plugged it in there for x and there for x. Okay, 4, negative 4, yep, so negative 3. Now notice this question just said find the vertex. So I've got my vertex. My vertex is at 2, negative 3. And I'm done. Jotaya?
What if like you didn't know which one to put in the parentheses? Would you go wrong if you put every single number in the parentheses?
No. No. What I would, the one you want to put in parentheses is the one that you're putting into the equation. So like here I'm putting the 2 in, so that's why I wrap the 2 in parentheses every time I put it in.
Oh.
Okay? But you would not go wrong if you put the other numbers in parentheses also. Okay? Okay, so now to write in vertex form, before I can write in vertex form, I need to find the vertex. So I'm going to go h equals negative b over 2a. What's my b value?
8,
Negative 8. So when I put it in my equation, what am I using?
positive.
Positive 8. Lots of stuff in this chapter that you're doing the opposite of what it really looks like. Okay? Over 2 times a, which is negative 2. What do you get for that?
4, negative 4, 2.
No.
Negative
Okay. This is 8 divided by negative 4, which is negative 2. Again, if you were going to type this into your calculator, make sure you put the bottom in parentheses. Okay. Now I'm going to take that negative 2 and put it in for x in my original equation. So k equals negative 2 times negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 plus 1. And then type that in. Let's see, that's going to be, I think 9. Yeah. Is it 9?
Yeah.
Okay. And since this said write it in vertex form, now I do have to write the equation. So I'm going to say y minus k. So y minus, what's k? 9. K was 9. Y minus 9 equals, what's my a value?
Negative 2.
Negative 2 came from up here. Negative 2. And then x minus h. So what's that going to look like? Plus 2 squared. And that would be your final answer for vertex form. Okay, number 3. Do we have a seat? Okay, so what's B? Okay, B right now is -1. So what am I putting in? +1. Over 2 times 4. That comes out to be 1/8, which as a decimal is 0.125. Decimals are okay for these. Okay, you are going to get some decimals for some of them. It will make you a little more reliant on your calculator if you're not already. Then I'm going to put that 0.125 in here for x. So 4 times 0.125 squared minus 0.125 minus 3. Go ahead and type that in. Is it negative? Negative 3.0625. 2.0625? It's not what I don't know. Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's what we got last hour.
I got -2.95.
Okay. I'll type it in with you. And that's fine as long as you put the 1/8 in parentheses. So 4. Yeah, I got negative 3.0625. So that's my K value. So then I would say y minus, or would it be y minus? Plus 3.0625 equals, my A value was 4, x minus 0.125 squared. Vertex form. Think you can handle that today? Yes, I hope so.